Have you ever had that nagging feeling in your gut? Like something's just not right? You don't know exactly what it is, but you feel it deep down, and you wish you could shake it off, but you can't. That's how I felt the day my husband walked out the door. Little did I know, that moment would be the start of something I'd never be able to undo. I never thought it would happen to me. You always hear those stories, read the gossip in magazines and think, that's not going to happen to me. You tell yourself that love is stronger than temptation, that your bond is unbreakable. But here's the thing. No one's marriage is invincible. No one's life is as perfect as it seems. It started so innocently. The new neighbor, a handsome guy in his 30s, he moved in about a week before everything fell apart. He was charming, easy to talk to, and from what I could tell, he didn't have the baggage of a complicated past. Just someone new to the neighborhood. At first, my husband, Adam, and I thought nothing of it. We welcomed him, had dinner a few times, and shared a few laughs over the fence while I watered the garden. Everything was fine, right? At least that's what I kept telling myself. But have you ever had a moment when everything seems off? I couldn't pinpoint it. I tried to ignore it, telling myself I was just being paranoid. I mean, it's not like I had any reason to suspect anything. Adam had always been a good husband, or so I thought. A month went by, and things started to change. Little things. The way Adam would spend more time outside than usual. The way he seemed to be texting more often, but never letting me see the screen. The way he would suddenly have business trips that I didn't remember being on the schedule. His absences became more frequent, and his excuses more creative. I don't know why I didn't want to believe it. Maybe I was scared to face the truth. Have you ever been in denial about something that deep down you knew was true? It's like you can feel it in your bones but pretend it's nothing, just so you don't have to confront it. And then it happened. Adam told me he was going to stay at a conference for the weekend. That's when I first got the strange feeling. But this time, it wasn't just a nagging thought. It was a gut punch. I asked him to call me while he was away, but he didn't. No texts, no calls, no nothing. Something wasn't right. 2 days later, I saw them, Adam and the neighbor, together at the neighbor's house, laughing, drinking, too close. I couldn't make out all the details from where I was standing, but I didn't need to. I already knew. The man I thought I knew, the one I'd build a life with, was no longer the person I trusted. My husband wasn't just spending more time away from home. He had left for that new neighbor. It felt like everything I thought I knew about love, trust, and loyalty was a lie. How do you even begin to process something like that? Have you ever caught someone in a lie so big that you couldn't even look them in the eye afterward? That's how it felt. Like the world was spinning in slow motion, but all I could focus on was the pain. So, what do you do when your whole life suddenly falls apart? When everything you thought was solid crumbles before your eyes? Well, I did the only thing I could think of. I filed for divorce. But that's when things really started to spiral out of control. I filed for divorce, or at least I thought I did. In that moment, I was so sure of myself, so ready to take control. But what I didn't know was that the hardest part was yet to come. I thought filing for divorce would bring me some relief, a sense of closure, even if it was painful. But instead, it only brought more questions, more confusion, and more heartbreak. I remember sitting in my lawyer's office, the papers in front of me, and feeling this rush of emotions. Anger, betrayal, frustration, but also fear. Fear of what this would mean for my future, for my life, for my kids. Would they understand? Would they hate me for it? But I was doing what I had to do, right? I had to take control. I had to protect myself, or so I thought. But then, as if the universe wanted to remind me that nothing is ever easy, Adam came home early that evening. His suitcase wasn't in the hallway. No mention of a business trip. Just him, standing there in the doorway, looking at me with wide, confused eyes. "I thought you were at work," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I was, but I came back early. We need to talk," Adam replied, his voice tight, almost nervous. Now, you'd think that after everything that had happened, after all the lies, I'd be ready to rip into him, but I wasn't. Instead, I felt this wave of exhaustion wash over me. How do you even begin to talk to someone who's shattered your world? How do you look them in the eyes and confront them when your heart feels like it's been torn apart? He stepped inside, And for a second, we just stood there in silence. I could see it in his eyes. He knew something was off, but he didn't know what exactly. Not yet. I'm filing for divorce, I blurted out. The words came out before I could even think. I hadn't meant to say it like that. But there it was. Adam's face fell. It was like I'd slapped him. His mouth opened, but no words came out at first. He looked like he was about to say something, then stopped himself. Finally, he spoke. Is this about the neighbor? His voice was almost pleading. Listen, it's not what you think. But I cut him off before he could finish. Not what I think. You've been spending days with him, Adam. I saw you together. I saw how you were with him. And now, you're asking me if it's what I think. What did you think I'd do? Just sit here and pretend like everything is fine? I could feel the tears welling up, but I refused to let them fall. I wasn't going to cry in front of him. I wasn't going to let him see how much this hurt. Just tell me the truth, Adam. Was it him? Was it him that made you leave? Were you planning on telling me? My voice cracked, but I held my ground. There was a long pause before Adam finally spoke again, but this time, he wasn't the confident, self-assured man I married. He seemed vulnerable. I never wanted to hurt you, he said quietly. But yes, I've been spending time with the neighbor. But it's not like you think. He's not just some hot new neighbor. We've become close. He's someone who understands me, someone who listens. His words stung more than I could have imagined. He wasn't just admitting to a physical affair. He was saying that he had found something in this man that he couldn't find in me. Something I couldn't give him, apparently. I felt a wave of nausea hit me. Understands you? Really? I scoffed. You think running to another man makes any of this better? That this is somehow my fault? Adam shook his head, taking a step forward. No, I'm not blaming you, but things haven't been good between us for a while. And when I met him, when I started spending time with him, it was like I was finally being seen, like I wasn't just invisible to you anymore. Invisible? My heart dropped into my stomach. Was that how he felt? All these years of trying to be the perfect wife, the perfect partner, and he was feeling invisible. I wanted to yell. I wanted to scream at him, to tell him everything I had sacrificed, everything I had given to our marriage. But instead, I found myself saying something I didn't expect. Are you in love with him? I whispered, barely able to get the words out. Adam's eyes widened, and for a brief moment, I thought he might cry. But he didn't. I don't know. I don't think so. But I feel something. Something I can't ignore. I'm so sorry. There it was. The truth. He wasn't just cheating on me physically. He had feelings for someone else. I felt my world crumble even more. My stomach twisted into knots. Then why did you come back? I asked, my voice trembling. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not sure what I'm doing. I don't know what I want anymore. The truth is a tricky thing. It doesn't always come in the form you expect. Sometimes it's not about what you hear, but what you feel, and I had a feeling there was more to Adam's story than he was letting on. The night after Adam's confession felt like a haze. We barely spoke after he admitted to feeling something for the neighbor. It was like I was stuck between two realities. On one hand, I was heartbroken, my trust shattered. On the other, I couldn't escape the gnawing feeling that something was being left out. Adam wasn't telling me everything. I knew it. Have you ever had that instinct? That voice in the back of your head telling you that something's missing? That there's more than meets the eye? That's what I felt. And I couldn't ignore it any longer. The next morning, I found myself pacing in the kitchen. The divorce papers still on the counter. I hadn't signed them yet. I couldn't. The thought of ending everything felt impossible. I didn't want a divorce. I wanted the truth. All of it. I wasn't sure what I was hoping for. Maybe that Adam would finally come clean. Maybe that he would confess everything. Or maybe, just maybe, that I would find some way to fix this disaster. But as the day wore on, I realized I couldn't wait any longer. I had to know what was going on, especially with this neighbor. I grabbed my phone and texted Adam. I need to talk. Alone. When he got home later that afternoon, I was ready. I didn't want to play games anymore. I didn't want to hide behind vague questions or pretend that things were fine. I needed answers. Adam, I started, my voice low but firm. You said it wasn't what I thought, but something's still off. You're not telling me everything. I can't just let it go. He looked like he wanted to protest, but I wasn't letting him off the hook. Who is he, Adam? Who is this neighbor? I pressed. And why him? Why now? Adam hesitated for a long time. I could see the struggle in his eyes, like he was wrestling with some inner battle. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. His name is Jake, Adam said, staring down at the floor. And he's more than just a neighbor. He's been through some of the same things I've been through, you know? We've become close. Closer than I ever thought possible. The word close stuck in my mind, and for a moment, I thought I might choke on my own breath. Closer than I ever thought possible. What did that even mean? I couldn't stop myself. Are you telling me you've been emotionally involved with him? You're in love with him? Adam's face turned pale. For a moment, I thought he might break down, but he didn't. Instead, he nodded slowly, as if accepting some fate he knew was coming. I don't know what to say, but yeah, I think I am, he admitted. The words hit me like a slap. Not only had my husband cheated on me, he'd fallen in love with someone else, a man. And I couldn't even process it. I stood there, frozen, my heart racing, my mind reeling. Why didn't you tell me, Adam? I whispered, my voice trembling with emotion. Why didn't you tell me that you felt like this? Why didn't you just talk to me? Adam seemed to shrink in on himself, like my words were crushing him. I didn't know how, he said quietly. I thought maybe it was just a phase, you know? But when it didn't go away, when I couldn't stop thinking about him, I realized I had to make a choice. And I didn't want to hurt you, so I kept it all hidden. I thought if I ignored it, it would go away. But it didn't. Did it? I shot back. It never goes away. It just gets worse. I took a step back, trying to clear my head. I had so many questions, so many things I didn't understand. The man I'd married, the man I thought I knew, was standing in front of me, admitting to a truth I wasn't prepared for. How did we get here? Was it just this neighbor? Was there more? Was this the end of my marriage? You're right, Adam said, his voice breaking. It's not just about the neighbor anymore. It's about me. I don't know who I am anymore, what I am anymore. I never meant to hurt you, but I did. What was I supposed to do with that? How could I even respond? The silence stretched between us like a chasm, wide and impossible to cross. And just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, Adam did something I never expected. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of paper. He handed it to me without saying a word. I unfolded it. It was a hotel receipt for a weekend stay just a few weeks ago. The names on the receipt were Adam and Jake. My heart skipped a beat. The truth was out. Sometimes when you're standing at the edge of a cliff, you have to decide. Will you jump or will you walk away? I was standing at that very edge, and I didn't know which direction to take. The hotel receipt burned a hole in my hand as I stared at it, trying to process what I was seeing. Adam's affair with Jake wasn't just some one-time slip-up. No, this was something real, something he had hidden for weeks, maybe even longer. They had gone away together, checked into a hotel, shared a weekend together, and left me completely in the dark. I couldn't breathe. I could barely move. My thoughts were racing, my heart pounding so loudly in my ears that it drowned out everything else. How could he do this? How could he betray me like this? All those nights he told me he was away on business. All those days he claimed he was busy, and all the while, he was with him. With Jake. I didn't mean for it to happen. Adam's voice cracked, pulling me back into the present. It was a mistake. I swear, it wasn't supposed to go this far. Not supposed to go this far? How do you even say that when you've already crossed a line so deep there's no coming back from it? I don't care about your excuses anymore, Adam. I snapped, the anger welling up inside me like a storm. I don't care if it was a mistake or not. You're in love with him, and you lied to me. For months, Adam. He stepped toward me, his hands raised, almost as if he was begging for me to understand. Please, just let me explain. It's not what you think. I never wanted to hurt you, but I've been so confused. Jake, he's the first person who ever really saw me, and I just... Stop, I interrupted, holding up my hand. I couldn't listen to his justifications anymore. The pain was too raw, the betrayal too deep. I don't want to hear it, I said quietly, my voice trembling with emotion. You're in love with someone else, Adam. And now, you're standing here, asking me to fix this? Asking me to somehow forgive you? How do you expect me to do that? Adam opened his mouth, but no words came out. The weight of what I was saying seemed to hit him, and for the first time, I saw something in his eyes that resembled guilt. Real guilt. Not the kind of guilt you feel when you forget to take out the trash. No. This was the kind that eats you alive. The kind that makes you question your entire existence. I never meant for things to go this far, he whispered again. I swear, I never wanted to lose you. I'm sorry. Sorry? The word tasted like poison on my tongue. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't undo all the lies, the broken trust, the pain. Sorry doesn't bring me back from this. He stood there, helpless. He didn't know what to say, and I didn't care. All I wanted was to feel something other than the suffocating weight of his betrayal. So, what now? I asked, my voice suddenly calm, eerily so. What happens next, Adam? Do I just pack my bags and move on? Do you think I can forget this? Do you think I can just pretend this never happened? I could see the tears in his eyes, but they didn't move me anymore. I had cried too many nights in the past, wondering what was wrong, wondering why he was distant, wondering if he still cared. And now, standing here in front of me, he was asking for forgiveness. I don't know what to do, he said quietly, but I can't lose you. I can't lose everything we've built. I stood there for a long moment, trying to control the anger rising in my chest. I had to make a decision, and the hardest part wasn't choosing whether to leave or stay. It was realizing that no matter what choice I made, things would never be the same. And then, as I looked at Adam, I made my choice. I'm leaving, I said, my voice steady. I can't stay here with you. I can't live in a house full of lies. I'm done. Adam's face drained of color. He reached for me, but I stepped back, shaking my head. I need to find myself again, Adam, I continued. I need to figure out who I am without you. Without this life. The finality in my voice seemed to hit him harder than anything else. I saw his shoulders slump, his face twist in pain. But there was nothing he could do. He had already lost me. And as I turned to walk away, I felt a strange sense of relief wash over me. I didn't have all the answers, and I didn't know what the future held. But I knew one thing for sure. I was finally taking control of my own life. No more lies, no more deceit. But was this truly the end? Or was there something else waiting in the shadows? When you've been hurt in the worst way, there's a part of you that wonders, can I forgive them? But another part of you, the one that's tired, that's broken, that part wonders if they deserve forgiveness at all. Leaving Adam was the hardest thing I've ever done. It wasn't the packing that was difficult, or the logistics of moving out. No, it was the quiet aftermath, the silence, the fact that I wasn't just leaving a man I had once loved, but a life, our life. I didn't want to feel like a victim anymore. I didn't want to wallow in pain or allow Adam's actions to define me. For once, I wanted control. I wanted to feel powerful again. And that's when the idea came to me. It wasn't enough for me to just walk away, to let him off easy. No, Adam needed to feel what he had done to me. He needed to understand the depth of his betrayal, not just with words, but with actions. For days, I thought about it. I plotted it out. The timing had to be perfect. The setup had to be flawless. And the revenge? It had to be something that would leave Adam completely stunned, speechless. So, I reached out to someone from our past. Someone Adam would never expect. Do you remember your ex's friends? The ones they used to trust, the ones they were closest to. Well, Adam had won a business partner of sorts, who had always been a little too friendly with me. Over the years, there were whispers, maybe some unspoken tension between us, but nothing serious. Just enough for me to know that this person could help me get back at Adam. Her name was Sarah. Sarah was more than just an acquaintance. She had always had a thing for Adam, even before we met. She was clever, resourceful, and in this moment, she became my ally. One night, I called Sarah, and we hatched a plan. It was simple, yet brilliant. She would set up a meeting with Adam at a local bar under the pretense of discussing business. When Adam arrived, expecting the usual friendly conversation, he would find me waiting there instead. But not just me. I'd arranged for the ultimate shock. I wasn't going to just confront him. No, I was going to show him exactly what he had lost. I showed up at the bar dressed to kill, wearing the same dress I wore on our first date. The one he loved, the one that made his eyes light up. And I wasn't alone. Standing next to me was none other than Jake, Adam's neighbor, his lover, the man he had risked everything for. As Adam walked in, his eyes immediately landed on Sarah, but then they shifted, and when they saw me standing there, his face went pale. He froze, his mouth opened, but no words came out. His gaze darted between me and Jake, confusion and panic taking over his features. I could see the realization hit him. It wasn't a business meeting. It wasn't just Sarah. This was it. This was the moment he had been dreading, and I wasn't just going to let him off easy. "Well, Adam," I said, my voice cold, "I hope you're not too surprised to see us here. I thought it would be nice if you could finally meet Jake properly. You know, the man you've been spending so much time with." Jake didn't say a word. He didn't need to. His presence spoke volumes. "Sarah," I said, turning to her with a smile, "you didn't mention you two had been spending so much time together, but I suppose that's not surprising. After all, he's not the only one who's been keeping secrets, right?" Adam's face contorted, his shock turning into anger, then desperation. "What the hell is this?" he demanded. "Why are you doing this?" I stood up slowly, my eyes never leaving his. "You wanted to hurt me, Adam. You wanted to destroy everything we had. So I thought it was only fair to return the favor." You're with him?" His voice cracked, and the disbelief was almost comical. But this wasn't about laughter. This was about power, about taking control of the situation, about showing Adam the depth of his betrayal. "No, Adam," I said, leaning in close to him. "I'm not with him, but I am with myself now, and that's something you'll never have again." With that, I turned and walked out of the bar. Sarah followed behind me, her face a mix of satisfaction and victory. As I stepped out into the cool night air, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: freedom. I had taken back my life. I had taken back my power. And in that moment, I knew that Adam would never forget what he had lost. Not just me, but everything. What would you have done in my place? Would you have used Adam's feelings against him? Or would you have taken a different route? How far would you go to make someone who hurt you feel the pain they caused? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.